ancestors from that county, you're definitely going to want to go ahead and tune in and see what they have that you can explore your ancestors' history with. And I'm sure they're going to share some of the history of the county and stuff like that. So we're going to go ahead and just dive straight into it. And so I'm going to ask Jane and Cheryl to both go ahead and start by introducing yourselves and what have you been doing genealogy wise and how did you get involved with the society?
Well, I'm Jane Hammock, and I'm the current president of the Boone County Historical Society. And I was brought into it several years ago. For the bicentennial, Boone County did a sampler quilt. And I was fresh home from college, but I had done needlework in 4-H before. So the girls asked me in to help with making the quilt, and then it just kind of snowballed for there. The Historical Society received a historical home, and it was in pretty sad shape. So we spent several years renovating it so that we could open it and make it our museum. And I helped with that. And then I took a few years off for my career, my kids, and now I'm back at it again, helping with the society here. Genealogy, my family had done all their work beforehand, so I was just lucky enough to receive the book, and my kids' dad's family had also researched there, so we were lucky enough on both sides of the family to already have it done. So that was very interesting for us and a lot less work. Cheryl, you want to tell them who you are?
I'm Cheryl Hancock. I have been on the board probably 3 years now. My husband actually has been on a year longer than I have. I kind of got roped in because he was asked to be on the board, and then we had a spot, and I was asked because I came to the meetings anyways. I've been a Boone County resident all my life. My husband's family came to the Whitestown area, which is where we live, in the 1860s or 1840s, excuse me. We live on the same family plot. His genealogy, we have back a couple of books for his side of the family. My mother's side came from Holland and from the Netherlands. So I have an uncle that did a lot of genealogy. That way I have a full-time job. I'm also a town council member to our district. So I don't get to do as much as what I'd like to do for the society.
Okay, go ahead and start out with a brief introduction about when Boone County Historical Society got started and maybe where you're located and the mission of the society.
The society was started in 1923 by a man called John Herr, H-E-R-R. And if you look on the map in Boone County, there is a dot for Herr, H-E-R-R, which was Herr Station and Herr Grain Elevator. It's still there on the map. John started the society, and I think at that time, they said the membership was 50 members. The society went along for a few years, and then it kind of came to a spot where it deteriorated and really wasn't active. And then a man called Ralph Stark reactivated the society and reincorporated it in 1979. So it's been active since 1979. Before that, we kind of moved from house or whatever location we could get to store books in. We were at the library for the while. We were at a old high school for a while. And then in 1988, a family in town gifted us their family's Victorian home. And after restoring it, we have used it for the home base of the society ever since. It's on 404 West Main Street in Lebanon. If you know anything about Lebanon, the courthouse square has the Boone County Courthouse on it, which does have the largest one-piece limestone columns in the world, which were mined in Steinsville, Indiana. We're just three blocks off the square to the west. So if you're ever in Lebanon, you can drive by on Main Street and see our 3-story Victorian mansion, which right now we're in the process of renovating. We had a horrible rainstorm last May. We've had to call in an first on-site renovation company to dismantle and rebuild 4 rooms. We're in the process right now of doing some cleaning work to try to get the furniture moved back in. So hopefully we'll have the house back open in May. We're really looking forward to that. So, and our main mission is to try to collect and store and catalog historic things from Boone County, magazine articles. We just had someone call us with a Boone cabinet, which we're trying to see if we can fit it in the house somewhere. Boone cabinets were the equivalent of Hoosier cabinets, and they're made right here in Lebanon, Indiana. It is right now in West Lafayette, and we're trying to see if we can bring it home where it belongs, here to Lebanon, Indiana, and keep a beautiful piece of furniture here where it belongs. Cheryl, you want to add anything else about our society and what we do?
Nope, I think you covered.
Yeah.
The
Sorry.
only other thing we do is we do the Lebanon Lincoln's, the Civil War reenactment is something we put on at the end of September.
So tell us about the house you guys are housed in right now. Is it the Cragen house?
It is the Cragen house. When the last Mrs. Cragen passed, the family, the 4 surviving children, none of them lived in town, and they called the Historical Society and made a generous donation of the house, although it did need a roof and a furnace and things like that. So we received the house in 1988, and she turned 100 years old in 1993. We were able to redo every floor, wall, and ceiling and have the house open for her 100th birthday. The family did leave all the furnishings. We have love seats, chairs, tables, cabinets, piano, a grand piano, cups, saucers, everything. So that's one of the reasons we really want to keep this home as a museum, because there will never be a historic home like this in Boone County that comes with all of the original furnishings. So it is quite the showpiece. That's why when it was damaged so much by the water, we really wanted to keep it in good shape and try to reopen it for the public, because it's just too nice of a home to let go by the wayside, because people in their 20s now, unless their parents, grandparents grew up in a home like this, have never seen a house like this.
Right. When was the house built? Do you know?
1893.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. Yeah, you guys were definitely lucky to get everything that was in.
Yeah. And these
So,
people
so
were
you'll
pack rats.
do. Oh, they were.
Yeah, so everything
Those
is
are
here,
always the best people.
everything, just
Yeah.
amazing.
So what?
Yep, did we lose her? Are you still there?
Can you hear us, John Marie?
Oh, there we go. Still there, John Marie? Hello.
Oh, that's interesting about the house.
Oh,
And I mean, that is a treasure
yeah,
to have, especially from that time period. And
right.
with all the belongings still included, I mean, that just, when people come in to do their genealogy, it is so cool to have the family history behind the artifacts.
Right, right. And we do a lot of paranormal events here.
Oh,
And
neat.
we're able to go back and explain all the family, who lived in what room, who slept in that bed, what happened to the children that did pass, and things like this. So it's
Found out about a dog.
yeah, we found out several things from the paranormal people, but it's interesting in the fact that we know who lived in this house, when, where, and why. So it's kind of interesting. Also, when the family left, they left all the handmade quilts that the original Mrs. Cragen and her 4 sisters made. And we take them to a lot of quilt shows because we know exactly who made them and where. So they're really, several are on the Indiana Quilt Registry because there's just such fine examples of handcrafted Indiana quilts.
That is amazing. It's fascinating.
What's
So
the oldest piece of furniture in the house? Do you know?
Beg pardon?
Do you know what the oldest piece of the furniture is in the house?
No, but it's all from the 1890s. I know the piano, and I didn't know this till we had it tuned. Every piano has a stamp in it, and the tuner can look it up and tell you exactly where the piano was made and what year. And we know that it's a concert grade piano that was shipped here from New York in the late 1890s.
Oh, wow.
So I can't imagine a piano being shipped here and then bringing it in the front door and putting it on. When we first got the house and we were trying to sort out the modern stuff from the old stuff, we found grandma's corset, those pink corsets with the shoelace strings, and the order form where the guy had come and measured her for her corset. She paid him $5, and then like 2 weeks later, it was shipped to her. So not too many people can tell you how much grandma's corset cost.
Now, did they leave behind any diaries or old letters or stuff?
There were diaries of like, went to the market, bought a loaf of bread for 5 cents and 3 apples for 15 cents. More the business type, not the, Susie went to school today and the dog died or it rained or anything like that. More just the business of how they ran the household.
So what resources do you have available there for people wanting to research their ancestors?
We have a lot of fun stuff. Let me get a couple of books here.
Okay.
We have several will books where we have abstracted the wills of Boone County. And these were done by several ladies, and you can go through these and look up if you know when your family passed in Boone County. We have all the listings of the wills by families. Yeah, we do have the Bicentennial book from Indiana at 2000. So if anybody wants to look up their family from there. One of the big books that we did several years ago, we have volumes of all the Boone County, Indiana cemeteries. Members went through and abstracted every cemetery headstone in there. So like here is the Lowry Cemetery in Jackson Township, tells you exactly where it is. And then here's Alice Andrews, 12/23, 1883, and exactly what the headstone says. So if you know your family was from Jackson Township or Boone County or Center Township, you can go through. Also they're indexed. So if your name is Adams and you think they lived in Boone County, then in the back you can look up here and it also gives what cemetery someone by that name is. Those are really fascinating books. We haven't done those in several years, but of course now they're so easy to get through the county. This is an atlas that we reprinted, and it's from 1878. And it talks all about Indiana at that year. There are commentaries from like the recorder and the mayors of the towns. It tells, of course, in that year, 1878, Boone County had not been a county for very long, and Indiana hadn't been a state for very long. So they were able to interview people and get their exact verbiage. It's really funny when they talk about the guys that settled Boone County. They were just land speculators. And as you know, a lot of counties had county seats, and then the state legislature said the county seat had to be within so many miles of the center of the township. So the county. So our county seat was moved from Jamestown to Lebanon. Several guys then came and bought all that ground so that they could move the courthouse there. And the guys all sat around and thought of a name. Well, then 50 years later, when they talk about how they named Boone County, and this one guy says, oh, the people all came out in throngs to listen to us announce the name. And when I said it was Lebanon, the cheers went up. And it's like, no, there were only 5 guys out surveying and said, this is Lebanon, and put a stake in the ground. So it's amazing how over a few years, the ideas of what people did back then have changed so much. But that's really an interesting book if your relatives were here early in the time. And then back in the late 18 or 1980s, the Boone County Historical Society made its own Boone County history book. And this mostly is things about families. So like here's the Plunkett family, has a picture of the family and then an abstract about the family. So if you know your family was from Boone County, you can come up and look through these books. And we do have all these books for sale on our website.
Oh,
But you can look through these books and get a lot more information about your family. And in the research room, we have a lot of files on just families. Like if there's an article about the Hine family, somebody would have cut it out and we've kept it in a folder. Any kind of books or leaflets from that family. A lot of church registries. Those are very helpful from Sunday school classes. And then, of course, since the original Mr. Cragen was the superintendent of schools, we have a lot of his books for children and classes and the days they attended and things. So we have a lot of books upstairs in our research room, which right now is in the process of getting fixed and all the books are in boxes, but hopefully we'll get those out and put back on shelves in the next couple of 3 months.
Right. So is everything pretty much you have to come in person to research, or do you have stuff available online, or do they have to reach out to you?
Yeah, they need to reach out to us. A lot of the books are for sale. If you're going to be in Lebanon, yes, you can just call one of us and say, I'll be there next Thursday at 2 o'clock. And one of us will meet you up here and you can go upstairs. We have a long table upstairs. You can bring your own computer or whatever. We do have Wi-Fi, and then start looking through these books and see. Or you can, lots of times people will say, I'm interested in Jackson Township. Do you have a book or an article? And we can say yes or no so that they can know if it's worth their while to come here and really look. Also, we work very closely with the Lebanon Library, and they have a pretty large genealogical section also. So a lot of times they can make one trip and hit up 2 places to try to look up family history.
Now, do you guys have lots of photos there, like old time photos that people can?
We
Some?
have photos if like someone specifically gave us, grandma's photo album. A lot of the photos we have were given to us by Harvey's Studio. So it's just pictures with no names, which are, lovely pictures of a mom and a daughter or 2 kids, but no names. So
No
it's so
names.
hard. Yeah, it's so hard. So I know my mother did it, and I keep telling my kids, although everything is on phones now, if you take a picture, put down their name. Don't just say Grandma Christmas of 73. Say Grandma Alice Jones, Christmas 73 at whoever's house in Broad Ripple, so that you get a little more information. But I'm so afraid with all these pictures on cell phones now, we're losing from now on of our history.
Yeah, that's true. That's the downfall of the cell phones. I had someone ask, is the cemetery book available for purchase?
Yes.
Okay.
There's a volume
Okay,
1
but
and a volume 2, and everything is online in our website, which I have here. It's Boone County IN for Boone County, Indiana, Boone County IN Historical at Gmail, or our website is boonecountyhistorical.org, and everything should be listed there.
Okay, we'll get that on the in the chat so people can
Right.
look that up. So what else do you guys do that now? I know you said I think Cheryl mentioned that you guys do the Lincoln Civil War reenactment. Do you guys also have other events going on there?
No, the Civil War reenactment, our paranormal events are about the 2 things we do. We've tried to do last year we tried to do a mother-daughter tea, and people just didn't seem to react well to it. I don't know if it was, a bad weekend, other things were going on, or people just don't get out and do that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I wish they
times are
did, because this is a
changing.
perfect house to have teas, and we have a huge dining room table that holds 12 chairs, so you can get a lot of people around it for a tea for your kids, and we have all the teapots and everything so that we can have a real authentic Victorian tea, and you can show your children how to react and interact in a situation like that.
That sounds like fun. That really does. So if people, I'm sure you have volunteer opportunities for everybody. So what are the, if someone wants to get involved, whether they have to be there or if there's something they can do, in a different location, what kind of volunteer opportunities do you have going on there?
We have volunteers that come and clean the house, that may sort through the books. We have ladies that like to just go through the files. We had a bunch of just piles of books that the ladies tried to go through and see if it was something that was worthwhile to keep from a genealogical standpoint or a history standpoint. We did take a lot of books to an auction mart just because it wasn't historically significant. But yeah, there's a lot of volunteer opportunities. The Lincoln Days, if you like Civil War reenactments, we always need people for host and to run the booth and to help with soldiers. And we do have a lot of baked goods and vendors in the historic cabin out there at Lebanon Memorial Park. They can help there. If we do have a Christmas party, we've tried to have a Christmas party and just showcase a decorated Victorian home. Of course, last year we couldn't do it because of the remodeling, but we're hoping to start
Right.
doing that again. So we can always use people just to be hostesses or make cookies or show up and be someone at the door. Now, if anybody's a woodworker, we always have things that are falling off the house, something needs to be nailed up or nailed down or tied down or tied up. We're right now working on trying to get some bat houses in the back of the house so that we can try to get the bats out of the attic and outside somewhere. We'd like to keep them around to take care of the
Right.
bugs. We don't want them in our house, but that's an ongoing issue with old homes, I'm afraid. But yeah, we can always use people, and maybe you have a skill that we haven't even thought of. Maybe you like to do research on how to get grants and funding for a home like this to pay for the electricity or to pay for a new roof or to cover the stairs, or maybe you like to do gardening. We have, a full house with a yard all around it with flowers and things. We always need, weeding and mowing and transplanting of flowers and things like that. But if you have an interest in a historical home, there's something we can find for you to do.
Fantastic. So if someone has their family history and their ancestors were from Boone County, do you take that research in? Are you one of those?
Yes, we would
Yeah.
love to have the research, and then we can put in our room under a file with that family name and let people know that we have it. Yes, we had several families that have done historical research and have donated to us. The Crane family here in town did the research, and then gave us a copy. So we have that upstairs. Boots Crane was a big horseman in the area, so a lot of people knew him because of their horses. So yes, anytime a family does something, we're very appreciative to take that and put it in our files.
Wonderful. Okay, so next one, let's see. What are some notable historical markers and sites within Boone County? You guys have kind of mentioned a couple of them, but what are some that you think are valuable for anyone coming through Boone County, whether they have ancestors there or not?
Of course, the Boone County historian Eric Spall at the library takes care of those. The main ones that come to my mind right quick is there is a colored cemetery in Thorntown that a Boy Scout several years put it back in shape, put a fence around it, cleaned up the markers, and there is a marker there for that cemetery. On South Lebanon Street in Lebanon is the marker where President Lincoln, on his way to his inauguration, stopped at the railroad stop there. And then on the way home in his casket also stopped there again. So we have a marker for that. There's a marker on 421 for North Michigan Road, I believe. And also there's a stagecoach stop house over there. Can you think of any more, Cheryl? Those are the three that come to my mind. Beg pardon? Oh, Scotland Bridge. Yeah, how could I forget that? A historic bridge that was recently torn down due to crumbling shape and not viable for cars. There is a sign there on the old Scotland Bridge. Yes, I forgot about that one.
Okay. You know some, Cheryl? You want to mention any?
Well, I was because I pulled up our website. We have the Indian Cemetery. It's got a Ill River tribe. There's a marker
I know what that
out
is.
there as well. There's a Herman B. Wells historical marker in Jamestown. So we have, and Zionsville has a couple. Also, I think over in their little area. But those are the Scotland Bridge and the Abe Lincoln, I think, are the biggest ones that we see a lot of people stop and look at.
Herman B. Wells was the president at IU, I believe, right? And he was from Jamestown, Indiana.
Okay. Lots there for people to see.
Yeah, there is. It's one of those counties that, it's here. We were the last of the donut counties to be organized because we were such a swamp. No one wanted to move here. But once we started, we kind of took off. And we were named for Daniel Boone, even though Daniel Boone never set foot in the area. The state legislature at the time thought it was just a way to honor Daniel Boone. So they named us Boone County.
So I have a question that's going to kind of throw you guys. What is your favorite thing within the house there? It's a challenge.
I've always said that if the quilts are gone, don't look for me because I'm in Mexico. I've taken all the quilts and taken them with me. When we got the house, we had to get rid of some of the stuff because, like I said, it was packed. And we were
Right.
just opening quilts up. Oh, yeah, it's a pretty pattern. We'll keep it. Or, oh, this is, when it's kind of torn. So we threw it out. We opened this one quilt and it was like just a cream stitching background. I thought, well, that's kind of odd. We'll keep it and threw it in the corner. When we opened all the quilts later and shook them out to refold them and stuff, in the middle of this quilt is this huge purple iris. I'm so glad we didn't throw it in the stack to get rid of just because from the
Right.
but the quilts for me are the most things. We've taken the quilts to the county fairs and several shows, and they always win best of show. When the Quilts Plus tour goes through here, we have a Quilts Plus fabric store in town for quilting, and she'll send people down here, and we open up all the quilts and lay them everywhere in the house so that people can come and look at them. But I really like the quilts.
I
Cheryl,
was
what's
gonna say,
your
I think,
favorite thing?
I mean, I love the quilts too, don't get me wrong. But I think all the woodwork,
Yeah.
in the doorways, the pocket doors, just that old feature that they used to have, the fireplace mantles, the staircase, they've got some really pretty woodwork throughout the house that is probably one of my favorites. The inlays on the floors, just stuff that you don't see anymore. Um,
Yeah. I
in
mean, it's
houses these
absolutely
days.
beautiful. I was admiring it behind Jane.
We just had, of course, with redoing the house, a lot of the workmen have come in and said, when you get the house done, we want to come up. I want to bring my wife or my kids or my mom. I want to show her this house because, and they do a lot of restoration in old homes. They say that this one is in pretty good shape for her age, and a lot of the woodwork and things like that are just really beautiful. So that always
Right.
makes me feel better that, at least our house is in good shape and the workmen themselves want to come back and look at her when she's in good shape. So that's nice to know that they think she's worth saving, that maybe we've invested all this money in the right place.
Yep. It's a beautiful piece of history. So what's the best way for people to stay in touch with the society? And also, do you do newsletters? I know you have the website, and also what social media platforms are you on?
We're on Facebook. We do a quarterly newsletter. And for the paltry fee of $25 sent to Post Office Box, I forgot, 141, you can be a member of the Boone County Historical Society and you will receive all of our mailings, our quarterly newsletters. And also you will receive a membership card. Now, if you'd like to have your whole family join, it's only $50, and any donations you would like to add on to that would be accepted. We do have a business of 30 employees or more for $50, and also a student membership of only $10. And then we have tried to get some summer interns here to help us do things. I'm not sure this will be the summer to do it or not, but we have talked to some students before about possibly using this for their summer historical segment of their college career. Because you could do a lot of research here and do some great projects from all the stuff here.
Absolutely. Is there anything else that we have not covered that you want to make sure you mention?
What haven't we mentioned?
Is there anything you can think of, Cheryl?
Just can Mike think of
So,
anything we haven't said?
I mean, the only thing I would, it would be, about our Lebanon's Lincoln Civil War reenactment and military encampment that we host at the end of September. This year it's the 27th and 28th. We have Civil War reenactors, doctors. We have President Lincoln, General Lee, Jefferson Davis, that all come and speak. We have a doctor, a surgeon, and some of those blacksmiths, along with like a general store that we sell things at. So that's one of our biggest, our biggest fundraiser for us. So that's, it's free to the public to come out and see all these. There is no charge. So hopefully people will come out and visit us.
That'd be great. Yeah, it sounds like a lot of fun. Okay, now we've shared the website link for everybody, and so
Good.
if everyone wants to go check that out, and like you said, you've got your publications there and your amazing membership that helps to support the society. What's the best way for them to reach out if they have a research question? Is it through the website or an email?
Email.
Email?
Email, they say. So that's Boone County IN Historical at gmail.com. So Boone County IN Historical at gmail.com.
Okay.
And if they're
And assuming that's the same email, if anyone wants to volunteer or
right,
have any questions, just use that email to get in touch with you ladies. Now, do you guys have specific hours that the society's open, or is it by appointment?
we haven't done anything yet with the house being under renovation again. We're hoping that once we do get the house put back together, that we can specifically say we'll be open Tuesdays from 1 to 5. Of course, always by appointment. If you want to call in and say, or email us and say, I can be there next Tuesday at 1 o'clock. Can someone meet me there? And as long as we can get one of our 11 board members to show up, someone will be here to meet you here.
Okay, fantastic. You guys have shared a lot of information, and we all want to take a look at that house, so maybe one day.
Well, when we have the open house, when she's all put back together, we will make sure that you guys are on the invitation list.
Absolutely, yes, please do. And so, let's see, just trying to make sure I covered everything. We are recording this. This is going to be available on Facebook. They've changed it. It's only available for 30 or 60 days, but it is going to be on our website. I want to encourage everyone to go to the Facebook page for Boone County Historical Society, and that's probably the best way to stay up to date with what's happening with you guys.
Correct.
Okay.
And say
Thank you.
also on our history website, we
Yep.
have, different historical research links on there. So if we don't have it necessarily in the Cragen house, there's other options that we can help find them in the direct if we don't have exactly what they're looking for.
The Thorntown Library has things, the Lebanon Library. I think Hussey Mayfield, Cheryl, and Whitestown and Zionsville both.
They have some, they have the Solomon Months. Has some, my husband Mike has the Whitestown History .com website that talks about mainly the history of Whitestown and how it became a town. We have the Thorn Heritage Museum. Jamestown has a small historical
Yes, they do.
society also. So there's all kinds of links to those different places on the website, on the Boone County's historical website.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. I think I'm just going through making sure we answered everyone's questions. We have someone named John said, I have cousins that moved to Boone County in 1834. See,
That was very early.
yeah. When was the county formed again?
Oh, 1830.
Okay. Let's see, I think we answered everything.
It came from the southeast corner around Zionsville and then moved to the northwest. So there were very few residents because, like I said, it was such a horrible swamp. So if his ancestors came here in 34, they were some of the early ones that were cutting down all these huge trees here and trying to make a stand in the wilderness.
That'd be quite an adventure.
Oh, I can't imagine. My family got as far as Kansas in a covered wagon and said, well, that was fun. We're going back home, and turned around and came home. Supposedly that's why my grandmother's middle name was Salina, because that's where she was born. And then they turned around and came home. So yeah, we couldn't get any further than Kansas. So I can't imagine coming to a place like Boone County with just mud and muck and bugs and swamp and just swamp.
Yeah.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Can you explain to those who don't know what a donut county is?
Oh, a donut county are the counties surrounding Marion County. So Boone, Hendricks, is it Johnson, Hamilton, the donut counties
Mhm.
around Marion County.
Yep. And Marion has Indianapolis, so
Yes, yes. I'm sorry. Marion
yeah.
County is Indianapolis. Yes.
I'm in a county that's the donut of the donuts.
You're the next
Yeah.
layer out.
I'd never heard of Donut County, so
Yeah.
I'm
Really?
glad you asked that, Kay. Yeah, never.
I think when they built the Colts Stadium, it was the donut counties that helped fund it. So yeah,
Yes.
we were well known for other things, but yeah, Boone County was the last of the donut counties to be formed because, like I said, no one wanted to come here. In fact, that's why there's a frog on the Boone County logo because there was so much swamp here. We have a frog on our Boone County logo. When they dug up Main Street several years ago to remodel, refurnish, they couldn't figure out why there were so many shoe soles down underneath all the road and no shoes. Well, the lawyers were on the south side of the square. They had to cross the mud street to go to the courthouse, and the mud was so thick that when they walked, it would pull the soles off their shoe. So you could save your shoe, but you couldn't save the sole. And there were just tons of soles of shoes
Oh my
underneath all the
goodness.
roads,
Oh,
the mud sucking the soles off the shoes.
Oh goodness. If it's okay, I'm going to share my screen. Um, because I pulled up the website and
Range Nathaniel.
I mean, this home is just beautiful.
yeah. Yeah, I
That's
can't
an
wait to
older
see when
picture.
you guys
She's
have it
now
all done.
pale green, but she still looks like that. Yes, she does.
Beautiful. And from what we can see on the inside, my goodness,
Oh,
It's
what a
pretty.
gem.
It's pretty cool.
And then I had a quick question about Strange Nathaniel Cragen.
Strange Nathaniel, yes. Now we were told that he was named Strange for the local minister. And then one of his great grand, I don't know if it's a daughter or a niece, said that her mother told her they named him Strange because he had one blue eye and one brown eye.
Uh-huh.
But we had never heard that before. That was the first time we'd ever
Mm.
heard that. But he was the original Mr. Cragen, and then Addie Boer was his wife. She was, as her obituary said, a prominent citizen from the Worth Township, which is the Whitestown area. And they were married and lived in a little house and a lot to the north of here while this house was built. They had twin daughters who both passed at a young age. And then their last son then was the son that inherited this house and married a local Lebanon girl and had 4 children here. And then it was those 4 children that deeded us the house. So
Wow.
we called it the Cragen House just because when we got it, everybody, the Cragen House, the Cragen House. So that's just kind of the name that landed on it.
yeah, that seems to happen.
Yeah, yeah.
That is so neat.
And we assume that one of the spirits, people in the house is Addie, the first Mrs. Cragen, because things have happened and done that only Mrs. Cragen would know. One night we had people come for a paranormal event, and usually we just tell them enough about the house so they know that, how old the house was, and 2 people lived here and they had 3 children. And when one of the paranormal people walked in, they said that Addie said to put out the tea service. So I got the teacups out of the cabinet and put tea in them and set them on the table. Well, then as the people arrived for the event and we were talking about the Cragen house and I was reading my little spiel, that night was Addie and Strange's 140th wedding anniversary. So that was the reason that she had come through and said she wanted the tea set out because she wanted to celebrate her 140th wedding anniversary.
Wow.
So I thought, and these people partied because there's 4 punch bowls in the house, 3 punch bowls. So, most people have 1 punch bowl. These people had 3 or 4 of them with all the cups and, the ladles and everything. But yeah, they partied.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I noticed that you have rentals that once the house is completed.
Right, yeah, right, yeah.
rentals. Yeah.
We rent them out for like graduation parties, showers. Rotary's met here before as one of their fundraisers. You know, they have bring in box lunches because we don't have a working kitchen. Showers, second weddings, meetings. If you have a group of your ladies that want to have their Sci to Xi meeting here some night, we're open for that. Or if you have a business meeting you want to have here with a large table, it's easy to have 15 or 20 people in the same room. A lot of showers, baby showers, graduation parties. Yes, we do rent it out. That's one of our main sources of income on the house is the rentals, and then subsequent people that want to just come see the house, and we give them tours and explain, what the rooms were originally, what the furniture is, why it's where it is, why the windows are across from each other in a house, why they built houses like this in the 1890s before electricity was in Lebanon. But a lot of things that people don't know about a house from 130 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I pulled up your homepage to show the donation button.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
As a nonprofit 501c3 volunteer-led organization, we're always on the hunt for any kind of donations to help us preserve this home.
Absolutely. And I noticed up at the very top how you can be contacted. Very simple, very easy, right there.
We've had several of our members work really hard on that website and try to make it as user-friendly as possible. So anyone that's interested in checking us out, we try to make it very easy for them to contact us and let us know what they want to do.
Very
That's
nice.
great.
We go. Well, that was
So John,
wonderful.
who was messaging in the chat, said the surnames are Golian and Owen of his ancestors that came there.
Oh. We could probably find if there's an Owen around. I know
Yeah.
the first settler was Abner Longley. He came through Zionsville. I'm gonna take away and look it up.
Well, this was fantastic. Great information. Definitely people need to check it out, especially if you have Boone County ancestors, or like me, I don't, but I need to go through the area so I can visit the house.
Well, and Lebanon has other things to offer too. We have two distilleries and brewery and a distillery on the square. We have several restaurants. We have Donaldson's Chocolate on the south side of Lebanon, right off 65. Homemade, handmade chocolates that are just phenomenal. The courthouse you can look at. We have 2 or 3 nice antique malls that a lot of people can come and look through. The Quilt Plus shop, the lady has just tons of material for a small town and a lot of quilting. She has a long arm machine that she's always working on in the store. We have a Hallmark store. We have a Merle Norman store. I'm trying to think what else is on the square. We have a lovely park, both south side and north side, if you just want to come up for the day and bring your kids to the splash pad or the pool and lounge around in a park and have a picnic lunch. And then on up the road, if you want to cruise by Lebanon, going up to the road, Stookey's Catfish House is up north in Thorntown. And they also have a historical small museum and a very nice library there. So if you're just going up 65 for the day, this is a good place to stop and look at some things and enjoy the day. And then you can always buzz back to Indianapolis or Fishers or Carmel or Kokomo or Crawfordsville. They're all areas that are really close to us. One of the day trips, like they say on the news, but it's a fun
Right.
place to come to and a really nice place to come visit.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you all so much again. And got a couple of people said they're going to be emailing you guys. So
Great.
and again, thank you ladies so much for coming on here doing this. I know it took us a little while with everything going on with the house, but I'm glad we finally got you here and are able to share your information about your society.
Well, we appreciate you taking your time also to talk to us and let us spread the word about our Cragen House and the Boone County Historical Society.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, if I think before we end, I think Kay was gonna jump on here for a sec. And as some of you may know or may not know, we've got the next conference coming up for Indiana Genealogical Society. Kay, do you want to hop on here and show? We want to show everyone how they can register because it's a little quirky with the new website. So we want to make sure everyone can register.
Sure, thanks. Our annual conference will be Friday and Saturday, April 11th and 12th at the Allen County Public Library in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And let me see. Let me see here. I was going to share my screen. I want to make sure I get I wanted to show how to register on our new website. So this is our new website, home screen. And if you want to learn more about this upcoming event, you just scroll down until you get to annual conference and click on event details. And you'll see a schedule of events, everything that's happening Friday and on Saturday. And you can scroll down. Our speaker on Saturday is Sunny Morton. And so we're excited about her talks on Saturday. And it's a hybrid event, so it's in person or on Zoom. And we have partnered with the Fort Wayne Grand Wayne Hilton Hotel, which is just across the street from the public library. And the option to reserve your room is this little click here button. And to register for the conference, the registration button is this little green register button. You click that and it will take you to the sign up form. So name, address, contact information, whether or not you'll be attending in person or by Zoom. And if you hover over the little question mark, that will bring up extra information if you need it. And you choose which option. So if you're an IGS member and you're coming for both days or you're coming via Zoom both days, you just add a 1 to this box and that'll be at the rate of $40. And for the IGS annual business meeting that is held on the Saturday, April 12th, there's no fee to attend the meeting. It's open to everyone. It's when we conduct our annual business of the society. And we have some options here about attending in person or via Zoom. And finally, you can include the 3% processing fee if you'd like. That's optional. The little CAPTCHA, and then you submit it, and it will take you to the Stripe payment page. Basically, we are asking about attending in person or via Zoom, so we have a head count, so we have enough materials printed off for when people arrive at the library. So that is how you get to the registration for our upcoming conference. And we are excited to have you join us. We're looking forward to it. Another great year. And I think that's all I have.
Kay, is are all the sessions going to be recorded and available even after the conference if they register? Do we know yet?
We don't know yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, by the time the conference gets around, hopefully before, we'll know. So that's a great question.
Be sure you guys all follow us on social media, so we'll keep everybody up to date on what's happening for the conference on there.
Mhm.
So,
And the Zoom links will, those usually go out a couple days before. So they don't come out right away. It's right before Friday. So yeah,
right.
we're looking forward to it. And John Marie and I may even try to do a Facebook Live.
Yeah, so be sure to come visit us. We're trying to see what we could do. We think it
From
would
the
be exciting
conference.
to do a little bit of live. Yeah.
We're gonna try.
We'll see what we come up with, what we do. So be sure to watch for us. It'll be fun though. It'll be
Yeah.
fun. Lots of fun. It's gonna be a good conference too. So
Jane and Cheryl, thank you so much for your time, for sharing all your wisdom and all these great things about Boone County and its townships and its towns. Sounds like
Glad
a
we could
great
help
place
you.
to visit.
You're welcome.
and then I think we're having another Facebook Live next week. Ask the Hoosiers genealogists. And so if you have questions, be sure to submit them either via DM or email Kay. That way, we're not doing the genealogy work. We're just helping direct you on where to go if you're hitting brick walls or just trying to figure out your ancestors' stories. So we always take questions because we want to help everyone do their genealogy. So with that, some of us will see you next week. Some of us will see you next month. But thank you all for joining us. And like we said, this will be available to rewatch on Facebook for, let's just say 30 days. And then the YouTube channel, which we will share the link. But everybody have a good night. And thank you again for joining us.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.